is going on, X Community Exo Stomp here, and today, people, we are back yet again, EDL Season 6. We're back with the post PRs for the Majors Division, and of course, joining me, you know him, you love him, it's your boy, Galaxy Bomb.
Death is upon us all. Hello, everyone.
Oh god.
How's it going?
Well, hopefully it's doing pretty well. Because today, you guys, I know you guys have been waiting. Finally got it ready. At least the doc, as you guys can see, it's pretty good. It definitely is better than how we did it last time, which was, well, pretty boring. But I was going to do. Actually, yeah, let me just say this beforehand. I was going to do pick'ems as well for this week, but everyone wanted to start early because everyone was complaining, why can't we start early? And I sort of explained, like, hey, I don't really have enough time to do everything beforehand. So I tried to explain that, but everyone wanted to start early. So we're not going to do pick'ems for week 1. So, because most people already played. So, but yeah. Week 2, we'll definitely have pick'ems, so I just wanted to mention that. All right. Anyways, as you guys can see on the screen, for 16th place, ranked 16th, we have the Gibby Gibbles. So, you and I both put them at 16th, as well as Rabbit. So, what was like the main points that you put them at 16th?
One, the most important thing I see is that there's no fairy type.
Mm-hmm.
Fairy is a really important typing, especially in this draft. There are some pretty strong dragon types in like Regidrago, for example. And the fact that there's no fairy type to act as kind of a balance between dragon and steel is really hindering. I also feel like they have a lot of like kind of setup mons, like in DD, for example, with the psychic terrain, but nothing really is able to complement each other. Like everything kind of does stuff individually, and I don't know how they fit together very well.
Yeah, I can actually agree with that. Most of those, actually, all those points. I did want to add on, however, that stuff like speed gaps are also pretty big. I believe it goes from 72 down to 50. If I'm looking
This
at
I
it.
feel like the 60 speed gap is pretty important because that's where a lot of like middle, like very defensive mons are, and being able to outspeed them reliably is pretty important.
Yeah. And also it goes from base 100 to 130, which you want something around the 115 spot, whether it's 112, 110, whatever it is. You want it something above 100 besides one Pokemon, because then most of the time, let's say someone has a fast ground type, they don't need to worry about having speed that much. They just need to pass Miltank's base 100, and even with that, Miltank is not going to be a mon that wants to run speed most of the time. It's going to want to be running defensive. So Yanmega is probably going to be the next best thing. So, but like honestly, all in all, I think this team does have a chance to hit super hard. We do have stuff like the Braviary, the Indeedee, the Yanmega with tinted lens, but Woex needs to be careful about rocks, because especially because you got a Yanmega on the team, you got an Araquanid on the team, the Braviary, a lot of mons that just don't want to get chipped down, and then hazard removers. You really got the one reliable one, which is Serena. Yeah. So I think this team has a chance to get a few wins. It's going to be super hard to make it to playoffs, but I'm not sure about Woex's playstyle, but we'll see how he plays.
I'll say one extra thing that I noticed with the whole speed weirdness. Psychic Terrain might be more of a hindrance because no priority moves can mean something that can catch someone off guard with a priority move might not be able to work out if Psychic Terrain is up.
Yeah. Yeah. DDA did have them at 11th. He did not write anything about them, which he said he would come back to do them, but that's fine. That's fine. But I think Berger had him in 12th. Let me just see if he wrote something, because I know he wrote a lot. Okay, so yeah, he says it's pretty offensively scary. However, like we said, a fairy type, or a fighting type would be really nice on this team, which he both does not have. So it is pretty big here.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the 15th spot, we have Twee and the California Q fans. So, this is sort of like my team, where it's like it uses terrain very much, where like you have the Thwacky, which weakens the ground type moves for like the Empoleon, the Marowak, and then you have the inverted mons like Hitmonlee and Slurpuff, which I feel like Twee loves Hitmonlee because he used it in UTA last season and he's been liking it, but a lot of people rated him down low. Actually, I put him at 11th, which was the highest. So I guess I could just start off with what I said, and let me just bring it up because I have like 18 tabs of people up. Okay, so 11th. So I wrote that he did have good synergy, like we can see, like I just explained, from the terrains. However, the speed tiers are really low. Stuff like
so slow.
Yeah.
It's really painfully slow. That's what I like the least about this team. He's relying a lot on Sharpedo, and I don't think that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, stuff like Smeargle. I'm not sure why it's there. As well as Sharpedo. Like, I'm not even sure why Sharpedo is here. Like, you could swap that out for a faster mon. You already have a water type in Empoleon. You could swap it out for like a fast dark type, which we've seen them around. We have a lot of them in this tier, like in this low tier. So I don't see why Smeargle. I mean, I guess Smeargle for hazard set, but then it just dies. Sharpedo's here really.
Suicide lead with this setup. I don't know if that would work very well.
Yeah, like so the thing that Twee needs to know is, you set up hazards, and then let's say you go into Thwacky to set up your terrain. Someone could just defog literally everything away, including your terrain, which is not very good. So, if you just waste your Smeargle like that, that is big for a team like this. Stuff like, I want to say like Whimsicott even can sort of stall out most of these Pokemon. Besides, well, even with Marowak, it outspeeds and sort of decimates this team. I'm not sure how well Twee can play around Defog, but we'll just have to see.
Yeah, I mean, I've used Flygon with like a scarf, and it works pretty well. But usually, you don't want to rely on that as like your fastest mon either. It's hard. So I do think there is a lot of strong power on this team. I really hope that he knows how to use it effectively.
Yeah, I mean that's just the blunt of it. He does have Empoleon, so I guess I can say this: if someone does have Defog Empoleon with Defiant, yep, you can get +2, and that is pretty good. However, Empoleon usually isn't a sweeper. Like it gets the +2, it can maybe hit something hard, and then has to switch out because a fighting type comes out, or So we'll just have to see. But yeah, I can see maybe Twee getting a few wins here and there, and possibly making playoffs, because I do like terrain teams, as most people know. All right, moving on to 11th. Sorry, not 11th. 14th, we have Raron. God, I don't know how to say this. Do you know how to say this?
Nope.
Well, we have Saints team, the Roronoa Zoroarks. All right.
Roanoa?
Roanoa.
I'm going with Roanoa.
Okay, final answer. So Roanoa Zoroarks, which is Saints team. So this team, I mean, it's blatantly obvious what he's missing. Can you just point it out real quick to me?
Oh boy, the Zoroarks. I mean, where's the removal?
Exactly. You need removal with the Sun Discord. You don't want to be running heavy duty boosts every single week. I mean, technically, you're going to be running heavy duty boosts most of the time, but whatever. I feel like you want to have hazard removal besides Girder. Like, Girder is a nice hazard removal, but you don't want to be running it all the time, especially with all these good mons that you have. So maybe switching up something to get some more hazard removal and maybe some more hazards. Like, you have rocks, but other than that, you don't have any other hazards. But Saint, Burger told me, I didn't really know who he was, but apparently Saint is extremely good. So I don't think he's gonna lose many games. However, the team, at least in post PRs, does look very sketchy.
Yeah, I mean, if he knows what he's doing, all power to him. He's gonna catch a lot of people off guard in that case. But it's so especially with something as cripplingly weak to hazards, as Scorch. If that Scorch gets knocked off, like, oh boy, that is a bad time.
Yeah, that's the big thing. I mean, I do like the Galarian Slowking, Regidrago, and Durant core because fairy types annoy.
So much power behind it. Oh yeah,
the power as well. A lot of these mons, they work together well because he's really just using this Regidrago to get a ton of kills, and stuff like the fairy types, Galarian Slowking and Durant can take care of. So I do like that core. But again, I think hazards chipped this team down too much to the point where it's like, with the Regidrago, if you want to use Dragon Energy, you don't want it to get chipped. So Girder having your only removal is very scary. But we'll see how it goes for his team. Let's see, Burger said, yeah, he sort of said the same thing. Speed tiers are pretty solid, however, but it does fall off after that kind of stuff where, like, you got the 115 to 109, and like the speed tiers are good, but other than that, like we already said.
Yeah, I also just as a one extra comment, I feel like there's not a lot of flexibility. I feel like they have to rely on bringing kind of the same thing each time, and I think that might be pretty crippling as well. Because if you're bringing Scorch, you have to bring Girder. Mm-hmm. In that case, almost all the time. So that kind of stuff can, especially in draft when predictions on what you're facing is really important, that can be pretty scary.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, a lot of these higher mons that he has, he's gonna be bringing most, if not all the time. Like Slowking, like the first 4 Pokemon, he's gonna be bringing most of the time, and then you can switch it up from there. Scorch Girder or Uxie Audino or Gorgeist Uxie, whatever. You're gonna be bringing the first 4, so you have to expect those first 4 Pokemon, because those first 4 work so well together that there's really no reason ever not to bring those 4.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to 13th, we have BTHG, coach of the launching Dragapult. So, I like this team. Another team, however, that does not have very fast Pokemon.
Yeah, I feel like they're pretty balanced. I put them at 6th. The speed is a little bit worrying. It's not as bad as some of the previous people that we've talked about, but I like their balance. I feel like they have a decent amount of flexibility, but they're kind of in the average sect, and I'm not sure how good enough that is for draft. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I see what you like about it. Colossal Quagsire.
Look, come on now. I'm trying these guys out for the first time. I don't even know if they're good.
You're right. But like, what I don't like, okay, personally for me, now this is weird, but personally for me, I don't like having too many duplicate typings, and there's 2 poisons, there's 2 rocks, there's 2 waters. For me at least, I don't like to do that if I don't have to. Like, if there's not too much synergy, and there's not too much synergy with, like, what does Barbaracle do?
Shell Smash. Does it have
It's Shell Smash? Yeah, it does Shell Smash. I mean, I don't know. I put it at 13th. I mean, again, I think the reason is because of the actual duplicate typings being a big issue. But
Yeah, I know something really important to you is you very much like to consolidate your mons. You want to have everything in a very tight, neat package so that you could fit as much as possible. So when you have things that are redundant, it can really lower the power scaling quite a lot. So I can understand that.
yeah. Um. Also, I'm not exactly sure where the offense comes from. Besides, like I guess barbarical. Uh.
God of War is fairly offensive, but even still,
Yeah.
it's not as offensive as you might want for your main damage dealer.
Yeah. I don't know. Just something. I guess I feel like it's probably duplicate typings that are ticking me off.
I
Like
think I think it's fairly. I think it's a six in the leagues. I think it's fairly well balanced, but I can definitely see where you are approaching it from.
yeah. Damn, I just keep looking at this team. All right. Anyways,
You're like, I want to fix it.
I do. I just want to take the Mons and fix it. No. Let's see. Do we have Fairy Dragon Steel? Is there a dragon? There's no dragon on this team. That might be also annoying to me.
Is there no dragon? Oh, I didn't even notice. Um, I feel like out of the fairy dragon steel lineup, dragon's probably the least important just because of how powerful I think fairies are.
Yeah.
But it's still probably important to have one.
I guess I don't blame BTHG because there was not many dragon types to begin with, but Barbarical. Come on now. I just dislike Barbarical, I guess. Alright, anyways, let's move on here. Oh, actually, before we move on, Hazard removal. Colossal, which, again, you really don't want to be running heavy duty boots every single time, and then Golbat, which you want to be running a Violet every time, so not very reliable. I mean, Golbat is nice, and Colossal is nice, but you're not going to be switching him a lot on Mons, because you're going to be taking a lot of damage.
Yeah.
So,
The
yeah.
chip on this team is very debilitating.
Yeah. And again, top that off with a team that it looks like you want to have webs because it's pretty slow, and you don't have webs. That is pretty big for this team.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's move on here and let's go on to the Auckland Licky Pies, which is from the Coach Lucas. So he's 12th. So I guess I'll start off here because I put him at 5th. Which I guess looks a little weird to most people because I really don't like Stall.
Yeah, you rated them really high for
Yeah.
what you normally do. I rated them 13th as a reference.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll do mine and then you can talk about yours. So, I think this team is actually super versatile because, or at least the speed tiers are good. Like you look at speed tier, or at least not quote. It's good. Like there's no big gaps here. From 100 to 115, it's not bad. You have something above 100, like that's fine. Ambipom is super nice to bring. It's also super bulky, and it also hits hard. Like, okay, let's see, right? Bronzong isn't the best physical attacker, but it does have body press, which can hit hard. Florges with Moonblast can hit hard. Dragalge with adaptability hits pretty hard. Ambipom solo knows, okay, Ambipom hits hard. Chestnut can hit hard, has belly drum and stuff. Rhydon hits decently hard, even though it's defensive. Electivire hits pretty hard. A lot of these mons hit hard, and they're also defensive, which makes it bulky offense, which, in my opinion, is so annoying to deal with, because you have so many mons here that can heal themselves with, like, Wish on Florges, with Roost on Articuno, with Strength Sap on Jellicent. Just there's so much healing, recover on Orbeetle. It's so annoying to the point where I think if Lucas knows how to use bulky offense, this team could be really good.
Yeah, I was gonna say they do have a very balanced team. They're slow, but if they can find an opening, I can see them breaking through teams very easily.
Yeah. Hazard removal. We're gonna go over this because there's only 2, but Florges is pretty reliable. And Articuno is also pretty reliable with heavy duty boots. Yeah, you do have to run heavy duty boots every game with Articuno, but it's not the big of a deal with Articuno because it has recovery, so it doesn't really care.
Yeah.
Hazard setters are good, clerics are good, pivot is all over the place. So yeah, that's why I put them at 5th. Yeah, on paper it doesn't look that good, but I think again, if Lucas can use bulky offense pretty effectively, this team can be in playoffs pretty easily.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I do think compared to I think the reason I rated them so low is because some of the higher tier teams I feel like are really strong, like really solid compositions. So
Mm-hmm. No, I
that's just me.
definitely agree with that. It was really hard to rate after like the last 4 people, and then just going up, it was really hard. So,
Hmm.
moving on to rank 11th, we have Kyrak and the Kyrak Crooks. So, um, let's see here. I guess, yeah, I rated them pretty high. I guess I could start with this one as well. So, Kyrak's Crooks, I put them at 8th. Their Fairy Dragon Steel Core is what's lacking to me. You got Appleton for the dragon, and then Fairy and Steel has Mawile, so it's like that's pretty easy to break.
Yeah, it's definitely worrying. I mean, fire. If so I have a strong fire type, wait, Appleton has thick fat. I can't
Does it? I don't think it does. Wait, oh
remember.
wait, I might be stupid. Hold on, I actually don't use that
I
thing.
do not remember.
Oh
If it
god,
does have thick fat, then at least ice type isn't terrible
hold
against
on.
Appleton. I just
It's
don't know.
it does have thick fat. Yeah.
It does. Okay, so fire isn't awful, um, uh, like when it's taking it on, but still, it's a little bit worrying. That I feel like this is the opposite problem where it's too consolidated. You know?
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly it. Because like it looked like Kyrak wanted to be like, okay, I don't have a fairy or a steel. Ah, Mawile is there. It's like that's, but you need to know what the hell it's gonna do. Like, what's Mawile actually? Is
Right.
it gonna come to any game?
Yeah.
Speed tiers are nice. I think speed tiers are actually really solid, especially for a team down here in 11th. I think this is probably one of the better speed tiers that we have in the whole majors division because it goes from like 126 to 112. Like there's no big spaces, which is nice. Defoggers are good. Hazard setters. Um, you don't have webs, but I guess it doesn't matter too much. Heracross loves webs, by the way. If you do get up webs with like a Guts Flame Orb Heracross, you just press Facade in close combat. That is so good. Without it, however, you're probably going to be running Scarf most of the time, so that's just something to note. What else? I mean, no T-Spikes, that's not a big deal. Wishbasser is good. Pivot may be lacking. Again, for a Heracross, you might want a little bit more pivot. So, yeah, maybe dropping Mawile and something else and try to get like a better Steel and Fairy might be better for your team because other than that, I do like your team. I think your team is pretty solid.
Yep. I pretty much say the same.
All right, and if you guys notice, I did not have a 3D model for Mr. Mime. Don't mind that though, okay? All right. Moving on to 10th, we have Dinistrio and the Swansea Soul Blazers. Okay, so, wow, I am again one of the only people that rated them higher than 8th, so I guess I will start here. So, now, I think this team does rely a lot on Donphan being a hazard setter and remover. Yeah, you do have other hazard setters and removers on your team. However, it does look like Donphan is going to be your main one. So, you know, it's not a bad thing. Donphan's a good Pokemon, but you don't want to have to be wanting to run it every single time, but not a big deal. Other than that, the good parts is you have Linoon plus Zoroark, which means if something wants to come in to let's just say it's a sash counter mon to stop your Linoon from belly drum extreme speeding your whole team, and it's a Zoroark and it U-turns on that mon that you just went into, your sash is gone, and now your counter to Linoon is gone. So you have to play around Zoroark, Linoon, and also Miss Magius, because if you press Nasty Plot on let's say he's in Zoroark and he presses Nasty Plot, but he's disguised as Mismagius. You don't know which one it is, so you're not gonna go for a fighting type move on a Mismagius. So it's just, I think this team, it looks really fun to play around with. Pivot's nice, Cleric, Wish Passers on Pheasant, but other than that, it's alright. And yeah, I think this team looks really fun to play around.
On my end, I feel like it's too much of a gimmick. I mean, I've never seen Lanoon in like draft as like the core mon of a team, so I don't know how good it is. I'm not sure. I mean, it would be great if it's good. I just don't know. I have no idea with this team, honestly, because I do want to see a Zoroark and a Linoon just absolutely shred through things, but I don't know. Maybe they could pull it off. I just don't know. This team completely clueless with, because I've never really seen these mons in a draft, like as the kind of core parts of them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the big thing, right? Like, not a lot of people have seen stuff like a Linoon be the main mon, because a lot of the time Linoon is not that much, it's usually not the main part, like you said. So the main thing is it mainly just presses belly drum and then presses extreme speed, because it's stab, which means it's going to be doing a ton of damage. So unless you have, even if you have a ghost type, if that ghost type doesn't outspeed the Linoon, it could just press Shadow Claw and kill it. Or I think it has Throat Chop as well. So Linoon is so annoying. You need to literally counter it in your team builder and bring like 1 to 2 counters specifically for Linoon, which is super annoying, especially if he doesn't bring it. Like, what if he doesn't bring it? He doesn't have to bring it on this team, which I think could be really interesting.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, well, that's the thing that I'm like. I looked at the other bonds, and I feel like there's a pretty big point gap. So if he doesn't bring Linoon, what is the major threat there? That's all that I'm like. If the gimmick is to trick people between Linoon and Zoroark, and then they don't bring it, where's the threat? I guess I feel like it's a gimmick that's a little too predictable.
The threat would probably be from Zoroark Mismagius. I think the main part is the Zoroark. You could make your Zoroark even like Mesprit, and people won't go for a fighting move on a Mesprit. They might go for a shadow ball, and that won't be very effective against Zoroark, and then they can kill your ghost type. So there's a lot of things that Zoroark can do that Linoon can't. So they do work pretty well together on the special and physical side, so they sort of like balance each other out almost.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
But yeah, I don't know. It might be that I like Hariyama as a Pokemon. I like Zoroark as a Pokemon. So maybe I just like these Pokemon on a team. Who knows? But we'll see.
That could also very well be. I have not really seen these mons in action in a draft format, so
that's fair. I mean, hey, this is the best time to do it. You learn and yeah, have fun with it. But all right. Next team we have ranked 9th is Cambat and the Goblin Forest Marshadow. So, I think this team has enough removers. You got technically 4 removers. Craggle has Rapid Spin and Defog just in case. But yeah, what's up?
I do want to say I feel like they are very solid. They have kind of a solid core. Nothing really stands out to me is the main thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have much to comment on because I feel like they have a decent amount of solid mons. But where's the catch? I guess you could say, because I feel like in draft you always need to have something to really push through.
I guess you're right. There's not really any breakers here. Noivern with specs could be a breaker. Rhyperior, not really. Yeah, you're right. You're definitely right. I think there's not many breakers on this team. I do like the synergy between like the Noivern and the Togedemaru. Actually, I was actually gonna
Mm,
grab Togedemaru, so I'm a little mad, but it is what it is.
that is a pretty solid combo, to be honest, because they really complement each other well. I mean, I
Yeah.
hate Togedemaru personally.
Oh, you do? I thought you liked it.
No, I mean I used it. I was not happy about using it.
Hey, man. Yeah, we don't need to talk about it, but yeah, they synergize with each other super well. I mean, what's Noivern weak to? You got ice and rock. Togedemaru can take care of that. Togedemaru's weak to ground. Okay, Noivern can take care of that. So I think they work together pretty well. And then Vaporeon can wish pass. I think this team is really nice in terms of bulkiness, but usually with a bulky team, you want more hazards than having to rely on like Rhyperior and Garbodor. Garbodor is not really a Pokemon.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Dude, we drafted it at, what was it, like season 3, and we never brought it to a game once.
Yeah, not a single time. Or like, I mean, it's a grounded poison.
It's
I
there.
guess it's there to stop people from bringing toxic spikes.
Yes.
Really, that's pretty much it.
Yep.
It's there to make people think twice about toxic spikes. That's its purpose.
That is, yeah, that's basically the only reason why people draft it. Like people, and then people also see like, oh, it has spikes and toxic spike. That's nice, and then you just never use it.
Never gonna use it.
But like, yeah, I definitely would look for maybe finding another rocker, because Rhyperior is a really good rocker, but you don't want to be running it all the time. Especially if you want to run like a weakness policy, rock polish set. Like you can't be running rocks on it. And with a defensive team like this, you want hazards because you want people to switch.
Yeah, I mean, I've used Rhydon before in draft, and Rhydon's really nice. So I feel like Rhyperior could do a lot, especially since it doesn't have the glaring Eviolite weakness that Rhydon has.
Mhm.
But the typing is just so painful. It's really hard to make it work. You have 2x4 weaknesses. It's just scary all the time.
Yeah, I think. See, but the difference between that is that Rhyperior has solid rock, which basically gives it, it makes super effective moves. So 3 force instead of the whole maximum amount, so it won't be doing the maximum amount. And then you can add on to, like, you can add a berry onto it instead of having to run a Violite. This mon is actually super versatile, which I like Rhyperior pretty well. But clerics, you have 4 wish passers. I'm not sure why, but you have 4.
Just wish onto the wish, and then wish again, and then wish one more time.
Oh god, that's horrible. No,
I mean,
but
to be fair, the stall composition on this team is not bad.
that's the thing, right? Like, that's what I was saying. Like, Garbodor, but the thing is, you have
Diagonal's a really nice special wall.
Craggle is a special. Yeah, Craggle is a good special pull. This team is a good defensive core. It just doesn't have hazards or that much pivot to really work with. So, yeah, we have technically three mons to pivot with. You're not going to be running Baton Pass on Durst Bloom, I'll tell you that right now. But yeah, it's there. We'll see what Kambat can do with this team.
Yeah, eager to see.
All right. At 8th, we have Panda and the Chicago Shamans. So, now I'm a little weird like this. Actually, you know what? You could start because you put them at second.
I put them at second. I put them at second place. I think this team is. I'm definitely a person that enjoys offensive teams. Like, I know that having a good defensive core is really important in draft, but I love just the thought of a team having a moment to set up and just going all in and plowing through 6 months. It's probably my favorite thing to see in draft replays and stuff like that is just seeing that one perfect moment where someone goes, I can do this now, and just goes for it, and it works. It's so satisfying. So I see this team, I see Porygon, I see Hatterene, I see Cloyster. I'm like, this team is going to murder people, and I really want that to happen. I think they have the ability to do so.
Yeah, actually, now that I'm looking at this is 100% a Panda team. Panda loves the setup. You got so much setup on this team. It is ridiculous. And then on top of that, you have two good light screen users, which is Rotom Fan and Inteleon being the better one because it's faster. If you set up screens, then go into Cloyster or Shell Smash, what the hell is taking a hit? What? Tell me right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially in
this team is painful to fight against.
Yeah.
Something's gonna die. You can pretty much never 6-0 this team because something's gonna revenge kill you.
And I am a big fan of having colorful teams. I'm weird like that. Like, this is a really colorful team, alright? I like it.
I guess so, yeah.
You got the reds, the blues, the greens in there, some yellow, pinks, I don't know. Again, I'm weird, but whatever. But on the opposite side of the spectrum, I put them at 14th, which is really weird. We're like opposite. So the reason why I put them at 14th is there's no real rock switching. Scyther really doesn't want to run heavy duty boost, wants to run Violite or a Life Orb or something like that. So that's not really going to be liking rocks. Quilava, Moltres, Rotom Fan, Cloyster. A lot of these Mons they do not like to come in on rocks. So you don't want to be running heavy duty boost on all these Pokemon. So that's going to be annoying. Plus the fact that hazard removers, the only reliable one that I see is Rotom Fan. Cloyster usually doesn't want to run it unless it's defensive, which I guess can happen. And then Scyther, you're not running Defog. So you're going to be running Rotom Fan 99% of the time, which it's not a bad thing. Panda loves Rotom Fan. But for stuff like rocks, you don't want to be bothered with running Defog.
Yeah, on a hyper offensive team, you either kill them before they have a chance to set up, or you're really in bad shape. So I can definitely see that.
Yeah. And other than that, your hazard removers are weak to knockoff because then they lose their heavy duty boots, like your Rotom Fan, or your whole team is really weak to knockoff because of rocks. So this is going to be interesting. I could definitely see Panda doing well with this team just because he's used to not caring about anything but pressing a setup move.
The kill.
Yeah. So I could see Panda doing well with it. However, it would bother me if like 50% of my Pokemon were weak to rocks. But moving on to the 7th spot, we have is Hopeless and the Hackensack Hackmos. So let's see who. Okay, you actually put them at 5th. So why'd you put them at 5th?
I honestly, I just think they have the best all-around team. Like, I think they have the best kind of composition that's just generally good in most scenarios. They have really nice power with Chandelure. I love Chandelure. I've seen firsthand the defensive insanity that Registeel is, that can tank a +6. So I have full confidence in that as the Steel Core. I love Roserade. Roserade's a really solid grass type.
I could see why you like this team.
Lot.
Never mind.
I love this team. This team's amazing.
You got freaking Chandelure, Roserade, and Rapidash Galar on this team. Never mind.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think this team is super solid. I think it's probably the best all-around team. I am. There are some that do certain things better, and I think if they play with that strategy, they can come out on top. But I think this one has a lot of versatility.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, your points are definitely fair. I just think it's funny how a lot of these Pokemon you like.
I saw this here. I was like, I like this. They've got good taste.
Yeah. And Burger put them at 3rd. So apparently, okay. So this is one of the most slept on teams in Burger's opinion. The offensive synergy between Roserade and Chandelure is going to be a pain to deal with. Although not many, you still have 2 very reliable rockers and Roserade, which is free spikes. These hazards plus Defiant Passimian is a huge problem. The Defoggers are solid in Mantine being the premier one, and Drempa being a niche remover. So I actually wanted to mention this. Yes, Mantine is a good hazard remover, but I always feel like Mantine is so passive, and the same thing with Registeel, that you don't really do much besides press hazards or press hazard removal.
Mhm.
Because, and then
Yeah,
people,
you've seen Mantine's power, like what Mantine does firsthand. You seem to have tried it out quite a decent amount, so I definitely trust your opinion on if Mantine is good or not here.
yeah, I mean, here it's fine. Here, like, I think it's fine because he has enough offensive momentum, but the problem is that if Mantine got flip turn, I would be like,
Yeah.
you should pick this thing most of the time, right? Because it has reliable, it's a reliable remover, and it would have pivot. But a Pokemon that doesn't have pivot that is defensive, it's it's not very good in my opinion, unless it has some sort of um pivot. I guess I don't know.
It's gotta have pivot.
And then like Grandpa, you're not pressing defog on most of the time. You're not you're pressing a special attack. I'm sorry, but if you don't, I don't know what you're doing. But
Yeah, I mean, Grandpa, if you're using Grandpa for the utility, I don't know why you brought Grandpa.
I'm not sure why Kingler's on here. I guess to boost your attack stat, because other than that, you have like Smeargle and Passimian, and I guess then.
I mean, they have a lot of special attacking mounts, so I can understand why they didn't want a special water type, to be honest.
Well, you got Mantine, so I just don't know why Kingler's here. That's the thing.
That's fair.
But you know, it's a good team. I just think maybe getting another hazard remover like a spinner or something could be nice. I think Hitmonchan is still there. I could be wrong, but like that could be nice maybe. But then you have Passimian, so I don't know. I've seen Kingler do work in OU, Skinny Nose as well. So we'll see. We'll see how this team goes. Wish Passer is pretty non-existent, so you can't really Wish Pass into your Registeel, so that's a big problem. But that's all right. And then, like I said, Pivot is sort of a big problem as well, because like Rapidash has Baton Pass, which you're probably not going to be using. Raichu has Volt Switch, which is fine, and then Passimian with U-Turn. But other than that, nothing has Pivot, so it's going to be tough. But we'll see how Bliss can use this. Coming in at 6th, we have... oh, God. Jesus. We have the Flagons and the Fiery
Jesus is in 6th place. Sorry.
Jesus is in 6th. No. So, I put them at 9th, and the reason why I put them at 9th was because on paper this team looks good, and I actually I don't mind this team. Like if I drafted this team, I'll be like, all right, this is fine, this is good. But there's no spikes, which it's not the biggest deal because you're not gonna be pressing spikes a lot of the time. It's nice in some matchups, and especially with some of these people not having good reliable removers like we were talking about. But it's not the biggest issue for this team, but it is something to note. NT spikes not being here either. But the biggest issue that I see is special attackers are like Charizard and Rotom, and that's like Rotom sort of. But other than that, Blastoise is here, I guess, too. And then that's it.
Yeah, special is definitely on the weaker side. I put them at 7th. I think they probably have the best kind of defensive lineup. I think their attackers are pretty darn bulky. Plus they have a lot of defensive power in stuff like Gigalith, for example. Super bulky. So personally, I think they can survive a lot. I feel like they can just kind of outpower something and just tank the hits, and I think that might be the strategy that they're going for.
I could see that. Yeah, so I think their team is fine. Honestly, they have enough of everything down below, like pivot clerics and everything like that. Hazard setters again could be an issue, but you got 5 rockers, so what the hell? You could just run 5 rockers on your whole team and just be like, have actual 5 rockers on a team, and no one would expect it. You got good setup with Blastoise and I guess Nasty Flat Crobat. Virizion has Calm Mind and Swords Dance. Dottler, however, it's your Weber.
That could work. Make it
It's
work.
not gonna be pressing. When are you gonna bring that thing?
Hey man, just like the Sword and Shield campaign, you have the EDL Dottler. It's tanky.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, no, but the thing is, like, this team is pretty weak against knockoff. You got Clefairy, Dottler, Rotom, um, Charizard with heavy duty boots, or Crobat with heavy duty boots. I mean, you got Virizion with Justified, which I guess can sort of stop that, but knockoff looks pretty annoying for this team. But other than that, like, again, I do like how this team looks. Ninth is a little harsh, but like I said, a lot of these teams above like 10th are really hard to put into words. It's just really because a lot of these teams are really close. So,
Yeah.
speed tiers are fine. Yeah, I guess that's really it about this team. All right, moving on to 5th, we have DDA's team, Daddy's Dark Types. So, let's see. I guess I could start because I put them in 2nd. So
I put them in 4th. Yeah.
all right. So the reason I put them in 2nd, and a lot of people think I'm crazy for doing this, because like, well, I guess you could mention the weaknesses, but I like this team because Snorlax is weak to fighting. You got the Moltres that could suck up that fighting, fighting type hits, which is nice. Snorlax and Moltres were, in my opinion, the steals of the draft, and the way that he got both is scary.
I was contemplating taking Moltres for a while before I eventually settled on my lineup, so I can definitely understand that. Moltres is very, very solid, especially with Snorlax. Oh boy, I think this team has amazingly powerful cores. I think their only weakness is that you pretty much always want to bring them. Like there's almost no chance they're that they're gonna switch it up that often. So I think that's the weakness, but I don't think it really matters because it's just so powerful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like. Okay, the biggest problem, at least for what I'm seeing, is like rock and fighting. Like if Terrakion was allowed, this team would lose instantly to Terrakion. Okay, like what the hell is switching into a close combat or a Stone Edge? Like, I'm sorry, but that's the biggest thing. The other thing is like, where's your physical attacker? Where is it? Tell me right now. Snorlax with belly drum?
Snorlax. Yeah.
Yeah. No. What? Arctivish?
Why not?
I guess. That's it.
I think Snorlax can do that. I think Snorlax can pull it off.
All right. Well, that's it though. Like, there's nothing here, which can be annoying. Like, I mean, I put him at 2nd, so I like this team. Again, I think I like gimmicky like terrain or weather. That's just me, I guess. I don't know. I'm weird, but I do think that this team could hit holes in people because of how pretty reliable a lot of these Pokemon are. Like, Moltres is a pretty reliable defogger, Steelix is a reliable rocker, Snorlax is just reliable as a Pokemon. And then you got that Hail Core, which is so annoying to prep for. You might need to even run Weather to counteract that. So I definitely think that this team could be really annoying, and I do think that this team is probably one of my favorites just to look at in general.
Yep, I absolutely agree.
All right. All right, moving on to 4th. So if you guys have been keeping track, the top 4 is all from the Viper division. So here we go. Skinny's team is ranked 4th. So why don't you start since you put them at 8th?
Okay. What, the Stunfisk, right?
Yeah, Seattle Stunfisk.
Okay. So I think the Stunfisk are strong. I think they have a very similar situation to the Dark type, Daddy's Dark types. I think they have a very strong core, but I think their core is weaker than the Dark types, and that puts them at a bit of a disadvantage there, if that makes sense. That's more or less my kind of opinions on it. I think. Oh Oh Jesus. Sorry, I was just
Sorry.
taking care of something. So yeah, I think they're pretty reliant. Like Incineroar is really solid, and same with Rotom Mo. Um, but I think they're pretty reliant on those two especially to keep themselves kind of keep their momentum up. So I don't see them. If they're bringing one, they're absolutely bringing the other. If that makes sense.
Okay, that's fair. I think the biggest thing for me is that, like, where's your offensive pressure? I don't see it. You got Swellow, like Choice Spec Swellow, or you know, that could work. Yeah, that's it. That's your offensive pressure. I mean, Meloetta can work.
Meloetta does a decent amount of damage, but it's a little hard to get it going, I feel.
Yeah. Hazard removers are great. Hazard setters are fine. You don't have webs, but I mean, webs would be nice on this team since your fastest is 110. But
Fortress doesn't have webs.
No, it has everything else but webs.
That's a shame.
Yeah. Clerics.
Hey, but they could Phalanx and do the all or nothing. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's definitely allowed. But look, Phalanx is the, like, you think, hey, what's my physical attacker? You don't look at Phalanx, and Phalanx is right here. All right.
Why not?
What the hell is Phalanx gonna be doing?
Hey, Phalanx is gonna set up. I don't even know what the name of its move is. That's how good it is.
No retreat.
That's the one.
Yo, fun fact, did you know that if you run Shed Shell on Phalanx and you use that move, you can actually switch out?
Cool. Oh, so it entangles you. Interesting.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
Hey, you should use that strategy in one of the matches.
Yeah. Do it. No. Okay. So, the speed tiers are fine. I think everything else is fine. Like, pivot's fine. Everything else is fine. It's just, you need to maybe find some offensive pressure here. Like, maybe switch out the Marowak for something better. Maybe switch.
I don't think Marowak is very good, to be honest.
Yeah. Like, it's a ground type. That's basically why you have it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe find a more offensive ground type. Sure, it has the Bone Club and can hit hard, but, like, it's also a Marowak, so yeah. Anyways, moving on to third, we have, whoa, it's me. And
pretty much
me
everyone rated you third.
A lot of people rated me second to fourth, so that makes sense that I'm third.
I think I'll go with you, so you don't have to talk about yourself.
Okay.
I think you have the most flexibility out of any of the draft. I think it's going to be virtually impossible for the other teams to prepare for whatever you're going to bring. Like, I think as long as you switch it up and you try something new each week, and kind of really test out the different versions of your mons, it's going to be impossible to know what's coming. So I think watching your matches is going to be really cool, because it'll be like a villain of the week scenario where every time it's going to be something different. You have electric terrain, you have just a ton of potential in Magnetar and Tyrantrum. That's going to be really cool to watch.
Yeah.
I've never actually seen a Sceptile in draft before. I really want to see that thing do work. I really like this team.
Yeah. What's fun is that I don't even need to run electric terrain. I could run misty terrain.
That's
Dude,
also true.
Misty terrain means that misty terrain plus Tyranitar, I don't have to get Will-O-Wisped. It also weakens dragon type moves, so that combo is even good. Trick Room plus Escavalier is good. Even just Slowking and Gligar is such a good combo. Plus the Weezing, like, I have so many different things, like you said. I don't have to bring a specific 5 or 6 months. I can bring all of my mons. Even Perugly is nice here because of Defiant. I could set up Toxic Spikes, everything, and then just come in on Perugly and be like, yeah, defog on me now, and then I sweep. All right.
For someone who enjoys being consolidated, I feel like you've really branched out here.
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing too. Like, yeah, okay, I do have 2 electric types. I feel like I had more duplicates. Oh, and 2 flying types, and do I have and 2 bug types? I do have
Sorta.
Yeah, I do have 3 duplicates. However, duplicate electric terrain, I have to duplicate it with Raichu, so that's fine. Duplicate flying types make sense because I have a lot of things weak to ground. So that's another thing. I have a lot of things weak to ground, which is big. And I know that that's big, which is why I picked up Masquerain because of the sticky webs plus the ground immunity. I sort of tried to patch that up with stuff like Sceptile. Yeah, I mean, it's not.
Does electric terrain weaken ground moves? I don't actually know.
No, that's grassy terrain.
Why would oh, whatever. I'm not gonna question.
I have no idea, but yeah, like I tried to patch that up. I have 2 flyings. I have a levitate mon. I have a ground, a grass mon. Sorry, I have my steel type is part bug, so it's not going to be super effective. So I tried to patch that up at the end as well as sort of in the beginning. I do have a lot of really fun cores to use, and I have a lot of these mons that I haven't used before. The right side, those 3, Tyrantrum, Magmortar, and Sceptile, I've never used in draft, and I always see them doing a lot of work, so I feel like this is going to be a really fun team to use.
The one thing I'm a little wary of is Escavalier. I've tried Escavalier. I don't like Escavalier. I get it. I get its purpose. It's really slow, but it packs a punch, and it has like a lot of nice utility. But that times 4 weakness to fire is scary.
Yeah, that's true. I do have the Slowking that can eat hits. I can bring like AV Magmortar, which is alright. Like yeah, the fire's annoying. But I do have answers to it. The reason why I have Escavalier was because number 1, that was like the last good steel type. Number 2, I wanted a steel type, so yeah, I was like, Escavalier's fine, and it works with Trick Room, so I was like, I'll use it. What's another problem besides ground for my team? Because I think someone else said something else. There's one. Let me just try to find it. Oh, right. Okay, so the speed gap. That's what I wanted to mention as well. So, I wanted to try to patch up the speed gap. Didn't work out too well. However, stuff like the speed gap between Alolan Raichu and Gligar, and then like Gligar probably is going to be running speed most of the time anyways, makes it really hard to like the speed gap's really annoying for my team, but I think I could work around it. I think I could bring Scarf stuff like Scarf Tyrantrum and like Scarf Magmortar, and I think I could make it work. That's definitely bothering me though, because I've been really big into speed tiers, and that's bothering me.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I think you could break through though, for sure. Especially like Raichu, I think will dominate that department quite a bit with its electric terrain. So
yeah, and then Unburdened Sceptile also is there.
Wait, oh yeah, Sceptile has Unburdened. I
Yep.
didn't even know that.
Yep, that's another reason why I picked it up.
Wait, so you could wait? What does Electric Seed do again?
Electric Seed, when electric terrain is out, it procs it, so I can have Electric Seed Sceptile.
Yeah, but what does the seed? What does the seed do?
Oh, it gives me, I think it's defense. Yeah.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Yep. So I can come in on an Earthquake. I can set up a Swordsdance or a sub or whatever I want, and yeah, do some work.
Nice.
So that's gonna be fun. All right, enough with my team. Let's go on to the second place. Does anyone have any guesses? Is it gonna be Burger or Solo? It's gonna be Solo and the Wicked Weaviles. Now, I'm surprised about this. You put them 9th, so I want to know why you put them 9th.
Okay. All right. Hear me out. Okay. Just don't climb down my throat. Just let me just explain myself. So the Wicked Weaviles have a very nice team. However, um, personally, I don't like Salazzle. I don't think Salazzle is very good. It's strong, don't get me wrong. It's very potent. But at times for ground weakness, I think ground is one of the strongest types in draft, honestly. I think ground is so devastating, and you know me, I've always found that my teams always have, like, no matter what I build, there's always a ground weakness in there that's really crippling,
Yeah.
no matter what.
Yep.
So if a team is not bringing at least some kind of earthquake or other ground coverage in the game, there's something wrong. So having your strongest mon being times 4 weak to ground seems so crippling to me. To extend on from that, I think Decidueye is pretty cool. I've never seen it in draft, and I don't see people pick it very often, so I don't know how good it is. It doesn't seem like the greatest to me personally, but I would very much like to see how well it does. I think Sandslash is solid. I think Duraludon is solid. I think Pangoro is pretty good, but I don't know. Something about this team just doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah. So about the Decidueye now has Poltergeist, which is very fun. Swords Dance Poltergeist is super annoying. But you did say Earthquake is super annoying, and yeah, looking at this team, Decidueye is not a defensive Pokemon, so it doesn't want to really come in on an Earthquake most of the time. Yeah, it has Roost, so I guess it can, but if the Pokemon that's using Earthquake has like knockoff or something annoying, it's gonna be annoying. Other than that, there's like Sandslash, I guess. If it's really defensive, I guess it can take a few hits from Earthquake. And then Vikavolt has Levitate, but if it's a Mold Breaker mon, which I guess that's why Solo has Sawk and Pangoro, to make sure no one has Mold Breaker Earthquake. It can be annoying, but yeah, that's the other thing. I'm not sure why Sawk is on this team. Look, the reason why I put it first, all right, the Sandslash and Sawk. All right, I gotta put them on. I gotta put them on here. No, but I do think that Sawk on this team is a little weird. But other than that, this team hits like a goddamn truck. What is switching into any of these mons?
It is very violent, extremely violent. Probably somehow more violent than the Shamans, and that's saying something.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
I mean, I can definitely see why people think it's so high up, and Solo's playstyle I feel like matches it very well. But I don't know. It's just I don't know. I feel like something terrible is gonna happen. I feel like this team is either gonna go 6-0 or get 6-0. Like there's no in between with these guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing to mention, like you brought that up, is there is something wrong, and it's the hazard removal. Like Sandslash is the only real one, unless you want to run Decidueye defensive again, which isn't the worst option, but it's a little weird. That could be an issue. I just think if that's your biggest issue, like hazard removal, but you have two decent removers, like if that's the biggest issue, and like having a duplicate fighting type that they do the same thing for, if that's your biggest issue, I don't really see a big issue. But yeah, the Sawk, even though I love it, I think you should find something else, like another type that you don't have, or maybe another hazard remover or whatnot. I think you could fill another place there, but yeah. So, moving on to number 1, it's gonna be Burger and the Denver Drowsies. So, you put them first. I put them 6th. Why don't you go first, and then I'll talk about why.
I feel like a lot of people put Drowsies first, right? Am I correct on that?
Yeah.
Which is interesting. Or Rabbit put them second at least. But yeah, a lot of people put them very high up. And something about the core 3 that they have, the Blaziken, Porygon, and the Comfey, seem to complement each other so well. Palisand, as I have witnessed, is an insanely good wall, especially with shore up and having the ability, just the ghost type to block spins on the hazards. It does a lot in a single package. Plus, it can burn with scorching sands. It's not terrible at offense. It's got like shadow ball, so it can hit harder than some things like. I feel like it's really solid. Um, Blaziken's Blaziken gets speed boost in this, right? Speed boost is speed
No,
boost banned?
speed boost
Okay,
is
no.
banned. What are you
Pretty
trying to
sure. Yeah.
do?
Look, I don't know. We can go speed boost. Why not?
Oh god.
Um, Even still, I think Blaziken is really solid. It does a lot of damage. It's got a very nice typing. And Porygon. I mean, I picked Porygon. I think Porygon is crazy. Um, so just there's so much here that just fits into one nice package, and I feel like the Drowsies are going to play kind of the most typical, if that makes sense, where the early game will be the early game where you're setting up hazards, you're whittling them down until you can find a hole, and then you just bring out stuff like Porygon and Blaziken and Comfey, and you just clean up. And I think that will work extremely well for them.
Um, yeah. Everything that you said is true. I just there's some things that bother me. And like number one, I think the speed tiers bother me. 130 to 100. Having a 30 speed gap is pretty big. Um, and then another speed gap is like 70 to 43. Again, pretty big jump. Um, that I think that's the biggest thing that bothers me. The other thing is that your defoggers don't want to run defog besides like Rotom Frost. Like Aerodactyl, I mean, it usually wants to run rocks if anything, if it's not offensive. I guess you could run it defog if you wanted to. Blaziken, no. And Comfy, you probably don't, because it usually wants to run just Calm Mind or like a U-turn set, like a U-turn setup set, whatever. So you don't have too many options for hazard removers that actually want to run hazard removal. And then like hazards, you have 3 rockers, which mind you, they are reliable rockers, but you don't have spikes, toxic spikes, or webs. I think webs on this team would be so free. Blaziken with webs? What the hell is switching into that? Porygon with webs? That would be insane. I mean, this team basically looks like your team with Porygon Comfy, except with webs on the team. I think this team would be first in my opinion. But without webs, I don't feel it. I know, I'm sorry, but there's no Wish Passer either, which I guess could be annoying as well. Not too many pivot mons. Nope, it's there. Okay, never mind. Yeah, like Blaziken's there, Comfy's there, Rotom Frost is there. But yeah, that's basically it for pivot. And then I think the other big thing to me is, let me just make sure I have all these. Oh yeah, and the fact that hazard removal is all defog makes Defiant and competitive mons be that much more threatening to your team. Like, I know I have defog as well as all of my hazard removers, except I feel like I can work around it a little bit better because I have terrain where so I have enough things to outspeed, like Emergence Sceptile and stuff, whereas you won't really be able to outspeed many Defiant mons besides like with Aerodactyl. So I think this team is super solid. I think I would move it back up. Like I would probably move it to first or second if it did have webs. And yeah, just gonna leave it at that.
Sounds good.
All right, so quick things to mention before we end. Minors, the minors PRs will be out hopefully in the next day or two. We're trying to get everyone to post their lists. We're almost there, and then what I'm gonna do is I will put it in the same format, and yeah, I'll finish it through that. But oh, and then pick'ems, I already said we'll start with week 2 and not week 1. So just because half the teams already played, so it wouldn't really make sense to me, at least. Plus, I don't have much time to set it up. But yeah, that is it. Oh, and also, I don't know if Galaxy. I think I already told you, but I don't know if I actually told you this. But we are going to be doing the next low tier legends together. I already told a few people, but if you guys don't know, be on the lookout for that. And yeah, I guess that's it for today.
Okie dokie.
All right. Do you want to end it off with some chaos?
I think I'll let them wait and see what's in store.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. We'll wait for the chaos to be on the minors PRs then. All right.
Sounds good to me.
All right, guys. We will see you next time. Peace.